news and current
Ang
affairs.
palatuntunan maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon.
Usapang sa Balay.
Sapat na kaalaman kapaki-pakinabang at kinakailangan ng bayan.
Usapang sa Balay. Ating samahan ang mga host na sina Napule at Madelynne Dominguez. Usapang sa Balay, news and current
Ang
affairs.
palatuntunan maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon.
Usapang sa Balay.
Sapat na kaalaman kapaki-pakinabang at kinakailangan ng bayan.
Usapang sa Balay. Ating samahan ang mga host na sina Napule at Madelynne Dominguez.
Apat na dekada ka na naming kasama, mula sa simpleng agahan hanggang sa mga fiesta o espesyal na handaan. Pinasasaya mo ang bawat selebrasyon, ginagawang memorable ang bawat okasyon. Sa mga pagsubok, hindi mo kami iniwan, nariyan ka para kami ay tulungan. Maraming kwento ang nabuo dahil sa'yo. Nagbigay ka ng pag-asa sa kabila ng mga sakuna. Tunay ngang ikaw ang house of bread. Tahanan ka sa masasarap, malalambot, at masusustansyang tinapay. Ikaw, oo ikaw. Ikaw ay tunay naming mahal. Tinapayan Festival, ang tinapay ng Maynila.
Tinapayan Festival is the house of bread. Tinapay ay anong sarap, for me it is the best. Lahat dito ng tinapay ay hahanaping tunay. Tinapayan Festival is the house of bread ninyo, is the house of bread ninyo.
Okay, magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating viewers dito at sa buong panig ng bansa. Ang inyong lingkod, Madelynne Dominguez, samahan niyo po ako sa isang oras na talakayan sa Usapan sa Balay at minus my partner Napule. Siguro ngayon lang nagde-date yung partner ko kaya medyo absent. Pero just the same, ang tatalakayin po natin sa araw na to ay tungkol pa rin sa Usapang Puso. Ito na po yung magiging part 2 ng ating talakayan. Last time, naging mapalad po tayo kung saan nakabahagi natin ang mga love story ng mga inimbitahan na ating kasamahang Napule galing pa sa ibang bansa. Ngayon po, pang-international din ang ating part 2 love story. Makakasama po natin sa araw na to, pabatiin po muna natin si Mr. and Mrs. Jojo Fresnedi. Si Sir Jojo po ay isang Managing Director of Except One PTE Limited, isa pong international consulting firm. At yung kanyang may bahay po, si Ma'am Rhodora, ay kasalukuyang Presidente at CEO ng Center for Growing and Giving Foundation. At makakasama rin po natin ang ating kapatid sa hanap buhay na medyo lumagay na sa tahimik pero naghahanap buhay pa rin bilang isang media practitioner na isang freelance journalist sa Guam, USA, ang ating kaibigang si Gina Tabonares. Pabatiin muna natin si Sir Jojo. Good afternoon, Sir Jojo.
Yeah, good evening from San Francisco. It's 11:11 p.m. here. So hello, pleased to be here.
Thank you po for the opportunity para paunlakan po kami. At si Ma'am Rhodora. Good afternoon, Ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. Background ko San Francisco pero actually nasa Manila ako. So, long distance relationship kami ng husband ko.
Just for now.
That's for now. That's for now.
Thank you, Ma'am Rhodora. At si Sis Gina.
Hi, good afternoon po. We're only 2 hours away from Philippines, so background ko obviously ay ang island paradise. But also, I would like to remind everybody in my colleagues, I'm a former National Press Club Director, 2-time National Press Club Director. So But I don't want to mention the day, the day, the
The
year.
year.
Mabibisto yung age ko.
Talaga, hindi ko alam yun ah. Ang tagal
Yes,
ang tagal ko na
Mad.
member ng NPC.
I'm the youngest elected director when I was with Philippine Star.
So, thank you sa inyong tatlo for being a part of Usapan sa Balay for today. So, hindi ko na patatagalin. Siguro, Sis Gina, unahin ko na muna yung mag-asawa, si Mr. and Mrs. Jojo Fresnedi. Pwede bang bigyan niyo ako ng brief background how your love story began? Magkaklase po ba kayo or what?
Yeah. Pumasok kami ng FEU 1977, 1976. We met there. Nung second sem of 77, I was passing by the dean's office. Nakita ko yung top 10 scholars of the past sem. All 10 mga lalaki, except for one. She was number 5.
Wow.
Rhodora Fresnedi. So I filed that at the back of my head.
Para palumar pa lang.
I filed that at the back of my head. I went to my class. And then the following sem, yung former classmates ko, they were telling me, "Pari ko, you really have to meet this girl. I think you will like her." Sabi niya, number 1 sa klase namin, ang galing-galing. So, well, I pretended not to be interested. So sabi ko, ano pangalan? And then they said, Rhodora Palomar. I didn't show my friend na, rings a bell. Ako, ito yung nasa listahan. Then my friend kept telling me, punta ka doon sa klase namin, etc. Makita mo rin yung mga former classmates natin. So one morning, I went. I was at the upper level. Nakikita, mapasok. Yun. Sabi ko, siya siguro yun. Kasi nakapaligid yung mga klase namin sa kanya. So I went down, pretending na dumadaan lang ako. So my friends greeted me. Tapos lumabas siya ng klase, sabi niya, ikaw ba yung si Jojo? Sabi ko, oo. Sabi nila, hindi ikaw eh. So sabi ko, baka nga hindi ako. And that's how we started.
Actually, hindi niya sinasabi na number 5 ako, pero siya yung number 1. So, kung paano ko nag-meet, actually, yung mga kaklase namin, so sinasabi nila yun, dapat daw ma-meet niya ako, pero sinasabi din sa akin, dapat ma-meet ko siya. And not only that, yung mga professors namin, sinasabi, dapat ma-meet mo si Romeo pa yan eh, Romeo Fresnedi. Sabi ko, sino ba yun? Sabi ko, tanda na siguro yun. Senior kasi, 2 sem nang nakalagay yung pangalan niya na top of class, flat 1, lahat ng subjects. So, syempre, medyo intimidated ako. And so when I first saw him, parang noon na makita ko siya, parang ko, ikaw ba yun? Parang hindi mukhang nerd, di mukhang geek, di ba? Long hair, parang James Taylor look. Parang hindi bagay na flat 1, tapos parang rockstar yung dating, di ba? So anyway, but we were actually parang introduced virtually dun sa mga taong nakapalibot sa amin na sinasabi nila, dapat makilala mo tong tao na to. And then, so, nung nakita kami, ganun nga, dapat nga makilala ko siya. Kasi, yun yung simula. So, it was college pa nung magkita kami.
Habang nakikinig sa inyo si Sis Gina, kinikilig siya. Kasi yung story ni Gina is, siguro yung brief lang, Sis Gina, i-relate mo rin sa amin. Kasi after mo mag-share ng love story mo, may common question ako sa inyong tatlo.
Okay. Mine was like one ordinary day. I was covering the court here at Federal when I saw Mr. Robert Riley. He was an active Navy Master Chief then. He was wearing his uniform, so he asked the questions a direction towards where to go on a certain hearing that he has to attend. So I thought he was in trouble because he's in uniform and that's a story. So ting 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 mandar yung aking pagka-reporter. Tapos I was covering court. Sabi ko, oh my God, this man is an officer and in trouble. But he asked for a direction where to go. So we exchanged card. I was interested because I want to have a source in the Navy. But at the same matter, so parang walang attraction at first. I just started messaging each other, and I was like telling him that I want to be friends because I want to penetrate the Navy. Because it's so hard to penetrate the Navy to cover the military. So we started messaging at first, and then we started talking, and then one day we met. I met a common friend of him, and then actually yung junior niya started na niligawan ako. So I actually met them at the same time, the first time we had lunch. And then I was telling myself, oh my God, I'm dating two sailors at the same time. But we're not dating as in date. We just set up that since they know each other, so they know me, we went to a lunch, and then I told myself, whoever will open the car door for me, yun ang i-entertain ko. So I said, give me a sign, God. So that was it. That's Robert Riley. So I ditched the other guy. And that was it. That's Robert. So yun, to make the Robert Riley short. Siya yung aking, dinitch ko yung isa.
So in short, kinover mo siya?
Yes.
Literally, dalawang meaning yung kinover eh.
Literally.
Natatawa Sir Jojo.
Tumambo yung pagka-reporter.
Oo. Itong next question ko para sa inyong tatlo, kasi si Sir Jojo, tsaka allegedly na-impress siya kasi napaka-humble mo naman, sir, nag-top 1 ka pala. Ang pinoproject mo yung nag-number 5. That's love, di ba? Yung nakita mo siyang nag-top 5 siya, masasabi mo bang siya na yung the one? May kabog ba?
It's many instances, many telltale signs, if you will, looking back. No, like nung una kami nagkita, I was pretty sure I want to see her again and again and again. Tapos pag magkausap kami, kasi dati tahimik ako eh. And siya makwento siya. Very interesting. Maganda yung mga kwento. Tawa ka ng tawa. The next thing you know, it's 3 hours na. You didn't know that time was passing by. Tapos nung magkaibigan na kami, hintay kami ng jeepney, mga 20 jeepneys pass by. Maluwag naman, pero ayaw namin sakyan kasi ayaw namin maghiwalay. And it was FEU. I'm from Muntinlupa, so sakay ako ng bus. So, nakasakay na ako. Siya pa rin iniisip ko kung ano pwede ko yung tanong the following day or ano pwede ko yung kwento. Okay. Also occasions na magkasama kami, marami kami kasama. Next thing you know, kami na lang yung natitira. Umalis na yung iba. Pero tuloy pa rin kami. So in short, I felt I was living in a different world. Kasi before I met her, I was living on the melancholy, quiet side. And it's as if she opened the door to the other side for me. And if I were to mention, ito na nga, it was the feeling na this is the one who's making me feel alive. And kasi buhay na buhay siya eh. So I said, this must be the one. Kasi lagi nasa isip ko eh. Even today.
Wow.
Para ako nililigawan. on the air. Anyway,
On your part, Ma'am Rhodora, yung sinasabing kwento ni Sir Jojo, yung sinishare niya, yung ayaw niya maghiwalay kayo, on the same day, may spot na ba?
Oh yeah. So nung ma-meet ko siya, so syempre ayaw ko mag-boyfriend kasi parang siya yung first. Parang I know, parang kung hindi ka seryoso, wag na lang kasi syempre nag-aaral ka, tsaka inisip ko noon pag magbo-boyfriend ka, dapat yun na. Ibang generation di ba? Parang hindi yung shopping. In our generation, pag pumili ka ng boyfriend, dapat seryoso. Pero nung makita ko siya, and I don't know where it came from, na parang feeling ko, ito yung papakasalan ko. Parang, ang bata-bata ko pa doon, pero parang ganun yung feeling ko. Parang papakasalan ko to. And I share the same feeling na parang ayaw mo maghiwalay, hindi ka maubusan ng kwento, hindi ko malaman kung dahil matyaga siyang makinig sa akin or talaga lang ang dami-dami namin pinagkakwentuhan. And we weren't immediately a boyfriend-girlfriend. We were best of friends. And nun lang ako nakaranas ng best friend ng opposite sex na it started very platonic na share mo pala yung marami kayong dapat pag-usapan na kahit maghapon na, hindi pa mauubos. And so you keep discovering more about each other, and in the process, parang you discover more about yourself. So parang pagkasama ko itong tao na ito, ang dami ko ring natututunan tungkol sa sarili ko na hindi ko pala alam. And so sinasabi nga nun, parang you should be choosing someone that expands you. I think from day one, I knew that he expands me. Parang, kasi dami niyang alam di ba, na hindi ko alam, dami ko natutunan sa kanya. I'm a very literary person, parang I'm an English lit. Ayun ang mga interest ko. Tapos siya, ang mga idol niya, sila Einstein, di ba? So parang ibang mundo yon para sa akin. And pinalawak niya yung mundo ko. And even up to now, like 45 years later, 45 years of friendship, pinapalawak pa rin niya yung mundo ko.
Oo nga. Ma'am Rhodora, is he your first love, first boyfriend?
Yeah.
How about you, Sir Jojo?
Pareho kami. I've never had a girlfriend
Wow.
and never had anyone since.
Si Ma'am Gina po, para si Sis Gina, is nung kabataan po niya, yan ang senior ko nung nagko-cover po kami sa Eastern. Ang dami pong manliligaw niya, kaya hindi ko na siguro itatanong sa kanya kung ito ba ang first love mo. Definitely, hindi ko na itatanong yun. Kasi hanggang ngayon, talagang ang ganda-ganda pa rin ni Sis, oh. Parang walang kakupas-kupas. Pero ikaw, Sis Gina, nung kino-cover mo, quote-unquote, ito si US Air Force, so palagay mo ba, ito na?
No, honestly, we dated for 3 years before we finally agreed to get married. And it was, sabi ko nga, kung ginawang maalaala mo kaya yung love story namin before we got married, ang title ng love story namin, Maleta. Kasi, on and off, naglalayas ako, pumunta ako sa sister ko, pumunta ako sa isang sister ko, pag nag-aaway kami every time. So, it's like we lived together for 3 years. We never got married. But during those times, so 3 years, we were fighting all the time. Because I was not really, I was adjusting. We were both adjusting. There were so many issues to fix. But everything turned plateau and turned stable when we got married. But the entire time that we were just dating, there's always an issue for the trust and everything. But because probably we came from, both our past has a very, so we have a checkered life before we met. So when we met, we have to fix each other's issues on trust. So it took us some time before we were able to put together our lives together. And then right after we got married, tumigil na yung mga away, yung layas and everything. So that's when the time that I totally committed to be a wife and totally changed my life. So, naging plain housewife ako. I gave up the career because he became my priority and everything, and that changed everything.
At saka for your information po, si Sis Gina is parang may nunal din to sa paa. Talagang hindi mapirmi sa isang lugar yan, gala ng gala. So I'm happy for you na at least kahit freelance journalist ka, na may maintain mo yung as a wife yung duty mo.
Yes. Yes.
So
And that's my number one description now as a wife. It follows na lang yung ibang ano. So I feel like done this and done that. So my plain title now is the wife of Robert Riley. So it doesn't matter to me.
That's nice.
alam mo, Sis Gina, etong mag-asawang si Sir Jojo and si Ma'am Rhodora is yung 34 years na sila. Hindi ko alam kung ilang years na kayo.
So we're only a total of 16,
16 years.
including the years that we were
Courting each other.
living together. Yes, yes. So marami pang kakaining bigas.
Oo. Hindi. But 16 and 34 is napakalaki na niyan compared sa mga nagsasama ngayon, di ba? Yung iba, boyfriend, girlfriend, sabi mo, 8 years, 10 years na, boyfriend pa rin. But they consider themselves sila na. Kahit how long the relationship is, merong mga problem na na-encounter yan kahit paano. Gaya nga ng minention mo kanina, to the point na saan lumalayas ka. Ang mga mag-asawa, may kanya-kanyang may mga baggage yan, may kanya-kanyang misunderstanding yan. So, Sir Jojo and Ma'am Rhodora, how were you able to handle those problems? Paano nyo na-overcome yung mga gantong konting tampuhan?
Well, kami 34 years, but we've been together 46. Because it's 77. It took us 11 years before we got married. And that was because both of us were building a career, and then in 84, she migrated to the US, and it wasn't until 88 that we got married. Anyway, to answer your question, a number of things actually. Number one is kasi nga we started as friends, the best of friends, and still are the best of friends, and that helped a lot. Kasi love itself can be demanding, and sometimes it's the friendship that enables you to communicate what you cannot say because you're after all, friends, and it gives humor to the relationship. Catch you some slack. That's one. The other one is communication, definitely. We never sleep kung meron kaming disagreement. We had to talk it out. There's some kind of a rule that we have. Both of us can go berserk, but not at the same time. So kung magwawala siya muna magwawala.
Nauna ako, parang ganon.
Hindi sumabay dun sa pagwawala niya. So, we take turns doing that. She might want to add a few more. I have a few things in
Okay, Ma'am Rhodora.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I agree. It's the friendship. And hindi naman tayo perfecto, no? So, syempre, nag-iiba kami. Iba ng bata, nagkatrabaho, nag-iiba. And so, there's always the willingness to discover ano ba yung pagbabago sa isa't isa. Pero malinaw din kami na we give each other like personal space, kung anong gusto mong gawin. So, merong mga para sa sarili namin, which is at one point yung career, pero meron lagi kaming space na ano yung para sa ating dalawa. So we have a rule na we should always travel together in life, na hindi mauuna ng malayong-malayo ang isa at hindi rin naman pahuhuli ng malayong-malayo. So dual career kami, bigayan, 'di ba? O sige, ikaw muna ngayon, o tapos ako, kasi mahirap ano 'yun eh, mahirap i-manage, 'di ba? Pag pareho kayong nagbi-build ng career. So kailangan magbigayan at rule namin 'yun sa sarili namin na may commitment kaming maghihintayan kami. At hindi kami mag-iiwanan na papabayaan mo ikaw, kumbaga, namamayagpag ka sa karir mo, o iwanan ko na lang yung isa, bahala kang humabon. Kailangan may alalay. Alalayan mong bawat isa para hindi kayo masyadong magkakalayo. Kung ano man yung as you journey through life, no? Parang walang iwanan. Mauna ka ng konti, pero wag mo akong iiwanan na malayo, and vice versa. So, yung question ng career, question ng kung saan, pinag-uusapan namin yun. Kailangan sabay kaming tumatahak sa buhay. Hindi pwedeng buhay mo, buhay ko, bahala na kung magkita tayo.
One other addition. Yung readiness to forgive
Yeah.
should always be there. Kasi no matter what you do, you'll fumble, you'll falter. If Rhodora wasn't ready to forgive all my misgivings, baka wala na kami kasi ako naman yung laging ano.
Ano? Or vice versa, di ba? Pasensyahan.
Who's the one who falters? But he ready to forgive ba?
So, yeah, I support that kasi parang hindi naman tayo perpekto. Parang pareho kami na magkakamali. Ay, niiwasan ko lang yung may masasabi ako hindi ko na nabitawan ko, hindi ko na mababawi. So, tatahimik na lang ako. Pero kung magkamali man ako, so syempre, I'm hoping he would have the space to forgive me, and I also needed to learn how to forgive. Parang in the overall scheme of things, ano ba naman yung pagkakamaling yan, di ba? Hindi ka naman magkwekwentahan ng, yan ha, nagkamali ka ganito. So, parang we always look at the big picture and refer to the life that we want to build together. So, sa pagkakataon, maraming pagkakataon na pwede kami magkamali, bawat isa. Pero titingnan pa rin natin parang, ako ba, kaya ko bang mabuhay na wala ka? Di ba? Or the other way around. And if ang sagot hindi, di matuto ka. Di ba? Matuto kang makisama o tanggapin yung isa ng buong buo.
Ikaw naman, Sis Gina, oo ka na oo. Aside from communication na minention ni, relate na relate ka.
Yeah, super relate. Kasi to pick up from what Ms. Rhodora just mentioned, that you need to learn, you need to change. So in my case, I'm the one who has to adjust. I have to study everything. We have a lot of gap. We have culture gap. We have, I was brought up in the way like Bohemian way. Alam mo yan, reporter tayo. We don't wake up in a certain period of time. My husband is the military. Everything is compartmentalized. So I have to change everything in my side, and I have to understand him. And I have to accept him, whatever flaws he got, because I always think I'm not gonna meet a perfect guy. Yeah. So you have to check about the redeeming points. Kung okay na yan kasi sa ganito siya, o okay na siya kung ganun yung flaws niya, I have to think about the bigger aspect of the person. So when I gave up my career as a beat reporter, I concentrated being a wife, and that's what made him very he appreciate the fact that ako yung nagbigay, because for me, saan ba makakarating yung career ko? Ano bang gusto kong mangyari? Whereas I have to be a supportive wife. So I'm done with seeing my byline. So, but at the same time, he didn't ask me to stop. I'm the one who initiated to take ako lang yung parang backup lang ako. Hindi ako yung nagsashine. Like if we go on a place, he's the one who's shining. I'm just a trophy wife. And then I started how to learn a home. Ang tawag ko nga sa sarili ko, zookeeper. Because we don't have a kid, but we have 6 dogs, all rescued, 2 cats, and my husband feeds pigeons, chickens, pati frog, pati kapitbahay na mga manok, pinapakain niya. So, I'm the one who has left behind to take care of all the dogs and the stray dogs and everything. So, but nonetheless, it takes a lot of adjustment. I don't really look for my past life. So I guess I matured over time. I learned how to cook. I learned how to do everything because wala naman kaming maid dito. So the fact that I adjusted well solidified our marriage. But I think when I became a Christian, that what made me stronger as a wife, because no matter how his attitude towards me, I always just think about I have to be a dutiful wife. So that really, kung hindi siguro ako Christian, baka naglalayas na naman ako, baka naghiwalay na kami. So I think my faith really helped me. So that's my secret with being a successful wife. I don't want to call myself a successful wife, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that what makes me stronger as a wife. Mm-hmm. So I always have answer because I always have faith.
So, Sis Gina, dapat pala kunin mo ko para matuto na rin ako magluto. Ano?
Meron namang sister, may Pinterest, may Google, may
Diba?
maraming online recipe.
Oo. Bago tayo mag-commercial o magbigay ng paalala, may habol na katanungan si Bel Surara ng DZME.
Yeah.
Para kay Mr. and Mrs. Jojo and Rhodora. Gaano daw kahalaga ng center ang relationship nyo kay God? Paano nyo ito isinasagawa?
You wanna
Okay.
first?
We live, okay, just to be out in the open, we do not live religious lives, but we're very grounded spiritually. We're not, this could be like, kanya-kanyang tuntungan, di ba? Kung tuntungan, kung ano man, yung samahan ng any relationship, mag-asawa o ano. The first foundation of our relationship is friendship. Now, a factor in that as well is service, which is service to others. Kaya marami kaming joint advocacy. Kasi considering dun sa mga pinanggalingan namin, pakiramdam namin napaka-blessed naming individually and kaming mag-asawa at ang aming pamilya. And because of that, parang kailangan namin itong ibigay pabalik sa kung sino man ang matutulungan namin. Ba? So, we really have to pay it forward and we're solid on that. Now, I am an advocate of diversity and inclusion and kasama dyan yung kung ano man ang pananaw ng relihiyon ng mga tao o ang paniniwala nila sa Diyos. So lahat ng klase ng relihiyon, open kami sa pagtanggap kung ano man ang pananaw nila. Ang religion namin in a sense dun sa service. So sa anumang paraan, we have joint advocacies, malinaw sa amin na kung ano man ang natatanggap namin sa buhay namin, pahiram lang yan. Diba? At kailangan naming ibigay sa lahat at hindi kami pwedeng mamili ng kung anong sektor o anong organisasyon ang kailangan naming pagbigyan. So, parang yung isa sa mga paborito namin, yung kay Bono, because you can, you must. So, lahat ng pwede naming ibigay, kailangan namin gawin kasi binigyan kami ng pagkakataon ng whether it's talento, resources, opportunity na makatulong sa iba. So pinag-uusapan namin mag-asawa yan na paano natin maiibigay pabalik kung ano man ang mga biyayang lumalapit sa atin. So hindi namin sinasabi na ang spirituality namin ay naka-base sa anumang relihiyon. Pero ang spirituality namin ay naka-base sa pagsisilbi, sa abot ng aming makakaya, sa kanino mang pwede naming tulungan.
Okay, thank you po. Pagbabalik po natin, pag-uusapan natin yung advokasya, yung mag-asawa, at yung advokasya din ng mag-asawang Gina and yung husband niya. I didn't get his first name. Magsha-shoutout lang po kami. Happy viewing kay Mariel Marasigan, kay Bel Surara. Hello, Ate Uday and Kuya Jojo.
Hi, Bel!
Hi, Bel.
Eli Cabaho, big hello to Jojo and Uday Fresnedi.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, LB. Mga kapatid ko yan sa SCA, sa Student Public Action.
Our good friend Sena de Guzman is also watching. Ewan ko kung nakabatch ba natin to, Sis Gina.
Yeah. Yes.
Si Alma Sichua ng UP Village is watching. My good friend Metro 1, Lito Berhel de Dios is also watching. Unfortunately, maganda rin ang love life neto, kaya lang siguro shy si Metro 1. Happy birthday, Bal Ramos. Belated happy birthday also to Gobsam Pagdilaw. Belated happy birthday to Rudy Liwanag. Yan, kilala yan ni Sis Gina. Kasama namin sa bulletin to si Rudy Liwanag. Belated happy birthday kay Jo Torres, our NPC director, kay Miss Joey Cabasada ng San Juan City, Miss Tess Camson ng Batangas City, kay Engineer Oyet Agustin ng Antipolo City, Sir Noli Cortez ng Mandaluyong City, Sir OIC Milky Tarayo ng Fairview, Doc Olive ng Doc Olive Skin Medica, Miss Elizabeth Constantino ng USA, happy viewing June and Mirna Organista sa Hawaii, also to NPC Director June Mendoza. Ito, kasamahan to ni Sis Gina. Inabot mo ba si Director June Mendoza? Sa Philippine Star? Ang sikat na photographer ng Philippine Star.
Yeah. Joe Mendoza.
Happy viewing also to Ken Cleaver Cruz, kay Colonel Ferdy Santos and wife at Ate Baby. Of course, kay Kagawad Janet Infante at kay Ma'am Lydia Bueno, ang presidente ng National Press Club na nakamonitor dyan sa kanyang kwarto, ang NPC secretary namin na si Paul Gutierrez, si Miss Rosemary Lara and Anton Tamayo ng Perpetual Health, also to Sec Bobby ng UP Village, kay Miss Sheng Bin Ong ng Cavite City, kay Miss Mercy de la Cruz ng UP Village, kay Miss Lloyda Benedicto ng Project 4 Quezon City, kay Doc Claire Iligan, sa mga taga UP Village, kay Miss Shasha, kay Presilda Contigera, Mr. Eli Mendoza, Mariel Dairit, at Professor Castillo. Also to John Lavines, happy viewing po ng Antipolo City, and kay Bambi Purisima. Yung iba pong nagpapa-shout out, mas mai-encourage kung mag-raise na lang kayo ng question para ma-monitor ko ulit, mabalikan ko kayo. So, salamat po sa pag-monitor at please do take part. You can raise questions sa mga guests natin na marami po kayong mapupulutan ng aral. So, babalikan ko na si Sis Gina, si Mr. and Mrs. Jojo and Rhodora. So, gaya na dinidiscuss natin bago tayo pumunta sa mga advokasya nyo. Curious lang ako sa inyong tatlo, ano yung higit na pinapahalagahan nyo sa inyong relationship bilang mag-asawa? Tsaka ano yung na-overcome nyo na pinakamabigat na problema? If it's okay for you to share with us, kung okay lang, wala pong pilitan.
Okay na, okay.
Well, to your first question, love, respect, and friendship is top of mind. Yun ang pinakamahalaga. And we've spoken about friendship earlier, no? As I tell the young the young people who come and ask us questions like this, I tell them, don't forget the girlfriend just because she's now your wife. Kasi once somebody gets into marriage, you tend to forget or take a few things for granted. And you shouldn't do that. So the courtship continues. It actually never ends. Kahit mag-asawa na kayo, because that's important. Okay. Respect is very, very important as well. In the heat of the moment, sometimes you forget that. Sometimes you say things that you never really meant. And like Rhodora mentioned earlier, you can take back. And whatever your partner does, you have to understand fully, and you have to respect that that's what he or she wants. Yun ang ano. And love and respect, I suppose, is most important. The third one I would say is a manifestation of love and respect, which is giving priority to each other. Firm kami na even though, you're willing to give the whole world for your kids, okay? But your priority is still each other. And yun, manganganak yun when your children have gone away. Yung kayo na lang dalawa. And meron kami mga couples na unfortunately, nung sila na lang dalawa, saka nag-break down yung marriage because it was the children holding them together. But if you practice that beforehand, you'll get by. And parang ang view kasi namin ng love and marriage is parang gardening. In gardening, you turn over the soil, you pull the weeds, you plant, you water. Love is like that. It's an activity. It's action. More than the words, more than the gifts or whatever. So in I don't know if Rhodora will agree, but those are the most important things.
I am the recipient of such generosity, I always say. Just to add a bit, love is action and love is also a decision. Diba? Parang pinili mo kung gustong kasama mo habang buhay. So, sa akin, to George's point, then you have to nurture it. And you'll have to make sure that your decision, it's a daily decision to continue to love the person. Even now, the courtship continues. Like, I'm away from home right now, but Jojo writes to me every day. We talk every day. We give each other updates. It's not a one-time thing. It's when you say it's a commitment, you don't commit just when you got married. You commit daily. And so to your question, ano ba yung mahirap? Mahirap habang nagpapalaki ka ng anak, you're pursuing a career, nagpapalaki ka ng anak, kasi that's multiple commitment, di ba? So napakadaling ma-tempt. Nakalimutan mo yung isa dahil busy ka dun sa iba. Especially nung maliliit yung mga bata. Our first two girls are just 2 years apart. So may baby ka, may 2-year-old ka, mahirap yun. But fortunately, pareho kami ng pananaw na our first commitment is to each other. And so the difficult parts were in adjusting to the different roles that we had to take, and adjust how we handle our relationships at different phases in our lives. Nung nagkakarir ka, nagkakapamilya ka, lumalaki ang mga bata, we had to make sure that we continue to know each other. Kasi ibang tao ka nung nagkita kayo nung 1977, ibang tao ka nung 80, ibang tao ka nung 90. And so there's always a challenge in the phases of your life where you are evolving. And so we had to make sure that we evolve together and we remain together through those changes, kasi napakadaling maghiwalay kung magkaiba na kayo ng pananaw, di ba? O kaya sasabihin mo, oh, mataas ang ambisyon ko, hindi ka naman sumusunod, so iwalay na lang tayo. Parang that's an easier path. The more difficult path is to say, how do we stay together and be committed to each other even as we're changing in our lives, personally, together, or even as there are competing demands sa attention natin, whether it's work, or whether it's growing children, or whether it's adult children. So fortunately, sana, patuloy namin yung pinagtatrabahuhan na meron kaming panahon na kaming dalawa, para sa aming dalawa. Kailangan namin ng both panahon at mag-create ng pagkakataon na we continue to learn and grow together.
Pero Ma'am Rhodora, ano yung pinaka big issue na hindi nyo pinagkasunduan, kung meron man, but later on, na-patch up naman? If you can still remember.
Yeah, wala kaming major differences.
Interesting yan. Kasi nung couple years ago, we were also asked the same question, and we were looking at each other, and we had a difficult time thinking about disagreement that lasted the night.
Ang mahirap, but if we are to think about that, mahirap it's both a blessing and a curse nung ma-expat kami. So, nasa Pilipinas and then expatriated kami, we had to adjust to the fact na kami lang. Ba? Kami lang, pamilya lang namin. Tapos, iniwan niya yung career niya, ang taas-taas ng position niya dito. I mean, he's a big person here in the Philippines, career-wise, and then became a consultant in Europe and US para bigyan naman niya ako ng pagkakataon na i-pursue yung career ko. So, adjustment period yun. Tapos, maliliit pa yung mga anak namin, no? So, kailangan matutunan namin kung paano mabuhay ng walang support system ng Pilipinas, di ba? So, yun, para kinaya naman, di ba?
Put another way, there was nothing major between us or against us. It was against circumstances or the conditions that we were, the obstacles in front of us. Kasi we were lucky, we've always managed to find a shared purpose, a shared goal. So, the obstacle is outside of us rather than between us. So, ganun yung situation. Of course, meron kaming disagreements, but nothing
big. Mga minor lang. Which is normal naman as a couple.
Yes.
Si Sis Gina kaya, ano yung, Sis Gina, it's okay kung gusto mong i-share, ano yung biggest obstacle na matatawag na misunderstanding nyo bilang aside from culture barrier?
I guess I just want to emphasize about my experience. 12 years ago, I undergo a heart surgery, and when we went to California, my husband has to take a leave from his work and everything. And that's when the day or the time that I realized that I picked the right man. Because sabi nila, it's one thing when the guy paid for your medical bill, took care of you and make you well and all. But it's another thing when he's the one literally washing my puwet. He washes my butt. He took care of me. The nurses did not, I mean, there's nurses, there's one-on-one nurses, but I was in ICU and everything, but the nurses were so impressed with my husband that he didn't leave me. And he's the one who really cleaned my butt. So every time, and even now, until this time, every time I'm mad at him and pissed of him, and when he made me mad and upset, I have to think about that day that, oh, it's okay, inugasan mo naman yung puwet ko nung So I just have to go back to that to remind me that, hey, I picked the real man. I picked the right man, and I made the right choice. So I guess that was like, whatever, there's always a test, there's always going to be a trial that will come your way. But you always have to go back for the reason why you pick this person.
That's so
So
true.
I guess that's the only way. That's why I'm still here with him. Well, there's some more
Kaya
reason.
tayo, Gina. So when we were I talked about the expatriation, no? So we used to have support sa bahay. So umalis yung kasama namin sa bahay. Si Jojo lahat nag-aral. Magluto, maglaba,
Yes.
ng mga bata.
Well, after
Yeah.
my surgery, I was craving for Filipino food and I want the intense lasa of sinigang. My husband has to drive in California, look for an Asian store, look for sinigang mix to cook sinigang. Now, that's his bragging rights that his sinigang is better than my sinigang. Because he has his own secret. But he learned it because I don't want American food after I got out from the hospital and I was craving for arroz caldo, sinigang, and he learned it. So he has to learn how to cook Filipino for me. And that's a pogi points.
Wow.
Major pogi points. Yan.
Nice to hear. At least, siya ang nag-adjust para sa iyo. Oh, Gina, alam mo, itong mag-asawang to, parang kayo. Ang advocacy, para po sa kaalaman ng mga viewers natin, si Sir Jojo po at si Ma'am Rhodora, bukod sa love nila sa isa't isa, in-extend po nila yung love nila sa kapwa nila. They have an NGO organization, correct me if I'm wrong, nagsiserve po sila sa mga special children, which is also close to my heart kasi marami po akong mga tatay-tatayan at tito-tituhan na nagjo-join ako. And I'm so happy na we have a common friend, Tito June Salenga. And
Yeah,
Oo.
good friend.
so nung nakita ko po yung nyo na, common friend siguro, they have the same advocacy, pero yung grupo nyo po yata iba. But you also care for special children, right?
Yeah.
So, nag-create kayo. Do you have the same interest with Ma'am Rhodora? How you come up with this foundation?
Sige, I'll let you talk about the diversity and inclusion first, then I'll leadership.
Okay. Okay. So, we have a foundation called Center for Growing and Giving Foundation. Part of that is Sunshine Farm Philippines, which is a sunflower farm that provides jobs for persons with disability. Pero yung simula noon, I wanted to provide, and we both did. I'm a diversity and inclusion advocate. So sa akin, yung pananaw ko, yung mga, especially the hidden disabilities, no, yung intellectual and developmental disabilities, no, autism at saka Down syndrome, hindi dapat pinapabayaan lang. Kasi yun yung sinasabi nila, exceptionality yun. Kung may exceptionality ka, pwede kang may exceptional contribution. And so, simula bumalik kami ng Pilipinas, naging advocacy ko na dapat hanapin natin kung saan sila magaling at kung sa paano mapapakinabangan ng society yung kanilang kagalingan. So, naging advocacy ko yan na nagkataon naman si June, si Sal Salenga, na classmate ni Jojo from college, also have the same advocacy. I'm looking at yung meron silang employment and livelihood opportunities kasi ang problema ng mga magulang parang parang ano mangyari sa kanila pag nawala na ako. And sa akin, ako naman, both business tsaka human resource background, nasasayangan ako dun sa kanilang natatanging kaalaman na hindi nabibigyan ng pagkakataon just because wala yung sistema na pwedeng tumulong sa kanila, whether sa pagbibigay ng pagkakataon na matutong mabuhay ng sarili nila, syempre spectrum naman yon, o kaya bibigyan ng pagkakataon na ipakita kung ano man ang alam nila. So tinayo namin mahabang storya, pero ang end dun sa isa sa mga ini-explore namin na pagkakataon is tingnan natin kung anong galing ninyo at papaano kayo makakatulong. Kaya sinimulan namin yung Sunshine Farm Philippines. And nakakatuwa kasi sunflower is also a symbol of hidden disabilities. Sa ibang bansa, sa Europe, pag may sunflower lanyard ka, ay ibig sabihin nun, meron kang hidden ability. And alam mo din sa hidden disability, bukod sa intellectual and developmental disability, kasama dyan ang mental health. So, ang nangyayari, hindi natin nalalaman kung ano ang kapansanan ng tao just because hindi natin nakikita sa labas. So, advocacy namin yan kasi pareho kaming HR, ayaw namin na nasasayang ang kakayanan ng bawat isang tao dahil hinuhusgahan mo kung anong nakikita mo sa labas. O kaya, sinasabihan mo ng hanggang dito ka na lamang. Ang paniniwala namin mag-asawa, kasi developmental tsaka leadership development specialist kami, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa isang tao, sa unang kita mo pa lamang, na hanggang dito ka lamang, at ikaw, kailangan mo ng tulong habang buhay. So naging advocacy namin yan, na huwag husgahan kung ano man ang kakayanan ng bawat tao, at magbigay ng pagkakataon hanggat kakayanin mo. So I'll let Jojo talk about the other parts of our advocacies.
Oo. Our shared goal as reflected dun sa name ng foundation namin is growing and giving. Okay. The other side of Center for Growing and Giving is along the lines of leadership development. And I'll mention very quickly 3 items under that umbrella. One is the leadership journey for doctors. At some point, we discovered that doctors take on leadership positions, directorship hospital, head of clinics, faculty, etc., etc. But 99.9% of their background has been medicine, naturally so, no? But none of the leadership. So they assume kung pinakamagaling kang neurologist or pinakamagaling kang cardiologist, ikaw na yung head of the department. But one gap, if you might mention, and not for everybody, is they weren't trained to be leaders of people. And so that's what we did for about 300 people, doctors all over the Philippines, different specialties. And we're happy to say that many of them are in senior positions, DOH, in hospitals, in clinics, and so forth. So that's one. The other one is something along the lines of transition for high school students to college. We did this program called Chrysalis, the inner work of growing wings. And that helps students transitioning from high school to college to find themselves, their purpose, and their meaning, and so forth. The third advocacy is actually about aging. We were taught how to be successful in school, after school, in business, and so forth. But nobody has taught us how to grow old gracefully. And I guess we're concerned about this because, well, I'm going to be 64 this year. Rhodora will be 50. So, and
Nag-gauge yung age mo, ma'am.
Oo nga.
so we're concerned about, how do we help people who've retired still continue to live meaningful lives? And so we run sessions for senior citizens like us on how to grow gracefully, basically. So yun yung mga advocacies namin.
So, ang shared namin, para ang paniniwala kasi namin is, that's the name of the NGO, Grow and Give. Kung ano man ang kapasidad mo, whatever your ability is, you need to grow in that capability and you need to develop because we're development advocates and you need to grow in your giving. As I've said earlier, in terms of common platform, pahiram lang kung ano man ang binigay sa atin. So, palaguin natin yan, in-nurture natin yan, alagaan natin yan, at gamitin natin yung ating kakayanan para tumulong sa iba. So, yun ang naging namin. The special needs kasi isa yan sa mga biggest gap na hindi napapansin, yung mga leadership development ng doctors din na mas nakakatulong sa iba. Nakita rin namin na okay, may kakayanan kaming tumulong sa area na yan. Sige, tumulong tayo dun sa area na kaya nating gawin para makatulong din sila sa iba.
So, yun po yung advocacy na mag-asawa, caring for special children. Si Sis Gina naman is iba po ang advokasya nito. Yung bahay nila, ginawa niya na lang zoo. Nag-a-adapt to ng mga iba't ibang hayop. Kulang na lang gumawa ng zoo to dyan sa Guam eh. Ano ba yung nag-motivate sa'yo, sis? At i-share mo naman sa amin kung ano-ano yung mga alaga mo dyan at bakit kayo nag-a-adapt ng mga ganito. For your information po, yung mga ina-adapt nila, yun ang anak nila. Go ahead, sis.
Kasi itong asawa ko ay talagang sobrang maawain sa hayop. At kung may makita siyang hayop sa kalye, ay nag-start siyang mag-adapt, iuwi niya yung aso. And he will not take care of the dog just for the sake of having a pet. He would treat them like kids because it happens, wala kaming anak. So, ano nangyayari, dun kami, umiikot yung aming mundo. So, the way we treat our dogs, cats, and all the animals in the house are like our kids. So, parang, yun na yun. Siguro, nagkaroon na, yung dynamics namin is ganun ang nangyari because wala nga kaming baby. So, and at the same time, my husband is a spoiler. So, parang, he loves to cook, So, when I cook now, I cook for my husband, sometimes for myself because I miss Asian food, and then I cook for the dogs and the animals. So my husband, when we buy our grocery, a portion of our groceries, sometimes more than yung sa mga pets. For the dog food, we buy meat and everything. So I really don't know how we turn into this, but we cannot imagine ourselves not having animals. So that's why our yards are full of, I don't know, we have so much. we have chicken, pigeons, and ducks and whatever. So that's how it is. And we always also promote not to buy dogs. We always promote adoption, and we help all those stray cats and stray dogs. So we promote all those community advocacies that we have to control the stray cats and the stray dogs. So in our own little way. So that's all we can do because the Guam is a very small island. So if we see some cats or dogs outside, we always have to call the animal control and every time. So I'm part of the group that we always put it on a social media so that somebody will see a cat in a stray neighborhood. So we can always foster it for the meantime and then make sure that somebody will adopt it, or if it's not strayed or spayed, it's not spayed or neutered, we have to make sure that we'll bring it to the vets to get spayed and neutered. So we have to pay for it if we're the one who has to find the stray cats or dogs. So it was really far from being the advocacy of the Fresnedi. So I really admire you guys, but I guess this is our part of our,
Just as important. Yeah.
That's important. I was gonna
Just
say.
as important.
Pero
Yes.
sis, I really admire your own advocacy. Bihira yung nag-a-adapt ng different animals and treat them as your children.
Yes, they also sleep in our bedroom. Our bedroom has different futons around our bed. So our house is actually owned by our dogs. We're just the one paying for the mortgage. So they occupy it. They're the owner.
Interesting about that is this thing about diversity and inclusion. Okay, if you push the envelope, part of inclusion is treating animals as fellow beings.
Yes.
Yeah, fellow beings which have their feelings, their rights, and has to be taken care of. Yeah.
I have to close my room door because they're all knocking at my door, and if I'll do it in the living room, they're all like jumping all over me. So I have to be in a closed door because I have to be so I don't want to be disturbed, but I can hear them knocking at my door.
You're the perfect example of our growing and giving. Kasi parang you have the ability to actually adopt those dogs and do the advocacy. And as you develop capability, you continue to give. So that's exactly what we champion. Kung anong gusto mong gawin, kung saan ka magaling, i-continue mo lang, di ba?
Next month, I'm actually joining a panel on animal justice.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Share nyo sa amin yan, Mr. Fresnedi, after your...
Yeah, sige.
Sure, yeah.
Share ka niyan. Oo.
Or maybe next time I could also invite you again kung ang topic namin is about animals. Same with
Animals.
Sis Gina, di ba?
Yeah. Diba?
So-
May karapatan din sila.
So sa mga viewers po natin, kasi may mga nagtatanong tapos na raw ang Valentine. Bakit nag-part 2 pa kami? Ang explanation ko is Valentine is every day.
Yes.
And it's not about husband and wife. It's about caring for animals, for friends, for loved ones, for neighbors, relatives. So pag sinabing love and Valentine, every day yan, tsaka very broad yan.
True. That is so true. Oh.
Yeah,
Ako, ang sarap na usapan natin. Kaya lang, we're running out of time. Siguro hihingan ko na lang kayo ng mga last few words or announcement kung meron kayong gustong ipanawagan sa mga gustong magpaampon ng special children at saka ng mga hayop. Andyan po ang mag-asawang Jojo and Rhodora at si Sis Gina.
Yeah.
But before you make your closure or announcement, gusto ko kayong imbitahin, especially itong couple, kasi si Sis nasa Guam naman yan This coming April po, we will be having our camp in Antipolo City with Tito Oyet and Sir June. I belong to an organization, NGO. We care also for special children. We teach them and discover their skills and talent. So feel free to join us. It's a 1-week camp in Antipolo. We usually do that every year in different places. So para magka-collaborate kayo kung ano man yung ginagawa nyo. Magkaiba lang ng pangalan yan, pero ang objective natin, ang advocacy natin is just the same.
Pagkakaisa, di ba?
Yes, Camp Pagkakaisa Volunteers Incorporation. So tinatawagan ko rin yung mga kasamahan ng Camp Pagkakaisa, yung mga senior volunteers and junior volunteers. Wala na pong, may pandemic pa, pero medyo maluag na tayo. So balik na naman tayo sa dating gawi. Caring for special children. Sana mag-join kayo sa camp this coming April. We will do gradually yung announcement kung ano yung mga changes sa date or whatever. Ini-invite ko po kayo, mag-join kayo para kung anong man yung matututunan namin sa NGO nyo, ma-adapt namin. Tunay, isa lang naman tayo, although pangalan lang ang magkaiba. We have the same mission and vision.
Okay.
Okay. So, Sis Gina, kung
I
may
just
panawagan ka or...
No, well, I don't have any announcement. I just want to commend you because you look so natural on the screen. Because I used to know you being a
Shy
reporter
person.
in a newspaper, and now you're on com. So it's a big, you
A big
are
change.
so. Yes.
Just
So-
like you. Thank you.
But anyway, I want to thank you for inviting me and for, I'm sorry for last week. And just give my regards to all the people of National Press Club, Ate May, if she's still there.
They are monitoring right now.
Most of them are probably retired already. And so I just want to say hello to all our colleagues there. And I just want to thank you again for including me in this.
Thank
What
you,
do you call
Sis,
it?
for
Usapang.
sharing your love story. It's a pleasure. Sir Jojo, Ma'am Rhodora.
Yeah. I don't have an announcement either. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for allowing us to share a few bits of what we've learned. And hope everybody has would have the same pleasure that we have in sharing and in giving. Yeah. A lot of people think it's cheesy to talk about love. Love is tough, love is hard work, but it's worth it, at least in our case. So I wake up in the morning and the first thought in my mind is, how do I make her laugh?
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Sana all.
Kilig.
Kilig. Oh, sana all.
Sana all.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I'm at the at the receiving end of such love, and I feel so blessed and grateful, and that's why we're compelled to. I particularly, thank you to Jojo for such a wonderful, very blessed 45 years and counting, and that's why we're compelled to give back. Because we've been blessed with so much love, both for each other, in our family, and so we'd like to pay it forward. I do have an announcement. You see my favorite nails. I mean, I'm sunflower all over. So, do come and visit if you want to experience paano makita magtrabaho ang mga PWD sa isang farm. Bisita po kayo sa Sunshine Farm Philippines, sa Facebook siya. Malapit lang it's in Chaong, Quezon, Maharlika Highway. People say it's very relaxing, it's very comforting, but ang malaking bagay doon ay makita nyo ang aming effort na bigyan ng pagkakataon ang mga may kapansanan na makapagtrabaho at gumawa ng livelihood program. Any form of support or collaboration, even with pagkakaisa, welcome po yan. Kasi hindi kaya ng isang tao, isang grupo, kung ano man itong kailangan gawin dito. So, maraming salamat sa iyo for giving us the opportunity to have this conversation. Sa akin, importante yung tama ka na I support that, na kailangang pag-usapan kung ano ba ang pagmamahal. Love comes in many different forms, and the more we talk about it, the clearer we are and about what it means for us. Salamat sa iyo, salamat sa my dear colleague, beloved Bel Surara, and LV has been watching and all. So, isa yang patunay ng pagmamahal. Kasi college pa yan, magkakasama na kami, di ba? So, singtagal na rin namin ni Jojo Fresnedi yan, yung mga pagkakaibigan, pagmamahal sa bawat isa, at pagmamahal sa isang advokasya at trabaho na alam nating dapat nating gawin kasi nararamdaman natin na may kakayanan tayong gawin. So maraming salamat ulit sa pagkakataon sa mga nanonood, nakikinig.
Thank you po. Actually, hiningan ko na kayo ng last few words dahil nag-overtime na tayo. Kaya lang, hindi ko pwedeng hindian to. May request yung isang tiga-Japan, si Lisa Baba Buraga. May question po siya sa inyong tatlo. O yan, Miss Lisa, pagbibigyan ka na namin kahit nag-overtime. Regular viewer po namin ito sa Japan, si Miss Lisa. Ano daw yung maia-advise nyong tatlo para sa mga viewers, sa mga nag-i-start pa, tsaka yung ongoing yung relationship? Ano yung maia-advise nyo sa kanila?
Gusto mo mauna, Gina?
Okay, sige, mauna ako. I think if you really love that person and you commit, you have to prioritize him. And you have to not to think about yourself, you always have to think about how he will be happy, and that's going to be your priority. And then, because for me, I am happy when he's happy. So my goal every day is to make him happy. So I think it's being unselfish. So when you always think of that other person, that's when your relationship grow, because he would appreciate it and he would see it. So that only means that love begets love, diba? So you start it from yourself, give it to him, and then you'll get it back. That's my simple recipe.
Thank you, Gina.
Si Joy ba? Joy? Is it? Did you say si Joy of Japan?
No, Lisa Buraga Baba from Japan.
Okay, Lisa of Japan. My own input is for kahit yung simulang relasyon, listen to your body because your body doesn't lie. Kung kinikilig ka ba, masaya ka ba, pero there's a difference between falling in love or wanting to fall in love versus falling with the word love. Parang gusto mo lang yung concept ng love, pero parang wag pilitin pag hindi ukol, di ba? Pero pagtrabahuhan, pero hindi your body will not lie to you. Kung totoo o hindi, yung nararamdaman mo. We've said earlier, love is a decision, love is an action. Pwede mo siyang pag-aralang mahalin at decision na magko-commit ka sa kanya. Pwede mo ring pakinggan yung sarili mo na napapasaya ka ba niya? O napapasaya mo ba siya? Hindi magsisinungaling kung anong nararamdaman mo.
Sa akin, yung love is basically giving. It's giving and giving until it feels like receiving. That's my one line of poem from E.E. Cummings that really means a lot to Rhodora and myself is the line, I carry your heart, I carry it inside my heart. So that's I leave it at that.
So thank you, Jojo. Thank you, Ma'am, Rhodora and Gina. Kay Ami Opus ng Baklayon, thank you. Baklayon, Bohol, thank you for watching. Yung ibang nagpahabol ng question, iti-text ko na lang po sa kanila. Wala na po tayong oras. So, in behalf po ng aking partner, kapatid Dennis Napule, ito po inyong lingkod, Madelynne Dominguez, nagsasabing maraming salamat po sa pagsubaybay at pagsama sa akin sa mahigit 1 oras sa araw na to. So sa mga naging panauhin natin, si Miss Gina Tabunares Rayleigh, dating mamahayag ng Philippine Stars, kay Mr. and Mrs. Jojo and Rhodora Fresnedi. How are you related to Mayor Fresnedi?
Insan.
Okay. So, sa lahat po, sa pagpapaunlak nyo, especially you, Sis Gina, maraming salamat and give my regards to your husband na nasa work, kaya wala po siyang kapartner. Pero hindi po sila hiwalay, just for today.
So, someone has to work.
Oo, para may pakain sa mga anak.
Living. Yes, yes.
So, thank you po. Bye. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.
Usapan sa Balay, News and Current
Ang
Affairs.
palatuntunan maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon.
Usapan sa Balay.
Sapat na kaalaman, kapaki-pakinabang at kinakailangan ng bayan.
Usapan sa Balay. Ating samahan ang mga host na sina Dennis Napule at Madelynne Dominguez. Usapan sa Balay, News and Current
Ang
Affairs.
palatuntunan maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon.
Usapan sa Balay.
Sapat na kaalaman, kapaki-pakinabang at kinakailangan ng bayan.
Usapan sa Balay. Ating samahan ang mga host na sina Dennis Napule at Madelynne Dominguez.
Apat na dekada ka na naming kasama, mula sa simpleng agahan hanggang sa mga fiesta o espesyal na handaan. Pinasasaya mo ang bawat selebrasyon, ginagawang memorable ang bawat okasyon. Sa mga pagsubok, hindi mo kami iniwan, nariyan ka para kami ay tulungan. Maraming kwento ang nabuo dahil sa'yo. Nagbigay ka ng pag-asa sa kabila ng mga sakuna. Tunay ngang ikaw ang house of bread. Tahanan ka sa masasarap, malalambot, at masusustansyang tinapay. Ikaw, oo ikaw. Ikaw ay tunay naming mahal. Tinapayan Festival, ang tinapay ng Maynila.
Tinapayan Festival is the house of bread. Tinapay ay anong sarap, for me it is the best. Lahat dito ng tinapay ay hahanaping tunay. Tinapayan Festival is the house of bread ninyo, is the house of bread